you faced a very negative, very vicious campaign the first time you ran for mayor. The type of antics and dirty politics that would make anyone never run for office again. Why did you not only run again for council, but why run again for mayor?
So why I ran again for council after I lost the election for mayor is because, first of all, I'm raising my children and my grandchildren, and I have my youngest daughter and my granddaughter, where I say when somebody knocks you down, you get up, you brush yourself off, and you go right back to the game. And I believe that they should see their grandmother and their mother, um, not be afraid to lose. And when I came back, I knew that the former administration didn't want to see me come back, because I do tend to hold people accountable when I'm on the council. And again, you don't have to believe my words. Please watch the council meetings. I have I get along with people, many people, but I certainly don't go along. And if it's something I feel is not right for the city of Methuen, I have no problem voting against it. So when I got back in, I decided to run, and one of the things was the trash issue that we had. And one of the first meetings I attended, I heard the public, because I happened to listen to the public, and they were not interested in that. I called for an immediate public hearing, and I granted one. It wasn't the most popular thing with the administration, but we ended up putting that on the back burner. I called another public hearing because they changed the water rate structures, and people were getting extremely high water bills. Again, as a counselor, I have only so much authority, but I did request a water public hearing so that the residents can come in and discuss their bills. That was done. So then, as time went on, I ran again for another 2 years, and again, I love serving the city. And I believe it was no, it was that year, that the final year of Mayor Zani's term as mayor, that that whole contract issue came. And again, like I said, Monday morning quarterback, to look back now and just to see, it is disturbing. And like I said, I'm not an investigator, but I will be waiting to hear what the IG's office has to come out and say, really. And I believe they're taking their time. A lot of people out there felt that there was um, no report, and they came out on February 1st, and they gave the preliminary, and it's just that, it's a preliminary report. And now they're still here. I can tell the residents that they are still here, and I think that they want to be very thorough before making any decisions, as I would want to be. But I'm looking forward to seeing what their final report is.
So why get back in terms of mayor?
So I actually had another 2 years on the city council if I wanted to. And when I felt that, you know, uh, I just felt that there was nobody with experience running the city, and I know there was a lot of shock throughout the community, the police contract, and oh, we don't want anybody from that, that council. But honestly, it's if you know what went on, and if you have been part. I mean, I've taken thousands of votes for the city, and I feel all of them are good. I feel even the vote on the police contract, given the information we have and all the other councils who voted for it, it's very easy to say, well, you should have did this, you should have did that. Um, Looking forward, I want to be part of that solution to see what exactly happened when the report comes out, and to make sure and put safeguards in place that never happens again, because this was a big hit for our community. And running, knowing my experience on the council, the city, and I think that's why I put my name in. I just really didn't feel that there was a lot of experience. And with this council coming in, the most experienced, barring Council Campignon getting in, the longest experience would be 2 years. So I just think being the council chair, that's even a lot of work, and I think a 2-year council with that experience, there's going to be, I want the city to run smooth, and I just think that I would help, because I'm not a obstructionist. If they need help, Uh, Being on the council for 10 years, I don't forget where I came from. I want to help them. I want to attend all the council meetings and the school committee meetings. I want to be part of the elected group that we can get us both on track, school and city. So, and I think that my strength and experience that I possess, uh, I think that that is why I decided to put my name in the race.
In terms, so a lot of folks have this feeling in as negative as and as disturbing and a black eye on the city in terms of the police stuff, the school overspend. It's, I guess the positive is that it's gotten a lot of folks to pay attention, and when they've paid attention, a lot of the things that I hear are that they're really tired of the tone and the fact that there's been a serious breakdown in communication between the executive branch and the council. There's been a breakdown in communication even within the council. If for all the good things that the council's done, there's been some factions formed and some lack of communication. How how will you kind of heal? What do you plan to do in terms of healing some of that division?
So again, being the chair of the city council, I worked with the vice chair of the school committee for a couple of years when I got back on the council. Before I was the chair, we were asking for joint meetings, and I know the school committee was asking for joint meetings, and it just fell on deaf ears. When I came in, again, you have to work together with all elected officials, whether you like them or not. There are counselors that I've sat with for years. We don't agree sometimes, um, and you just act professional. But as the mayor's office, I had been the chair under Mayor Zani, and we did have communication, with him. I believe in communication is key. So I think my door will always be open. There's 3 positions in the mayor's office, and one of them will completely be to make sure that the council knows all the functions that are going on in Methuen, because I believe that they should be around. They should be seen at city events, and sometimes we don't get that memo. They will get that memo with me, because I believe when the city sees their mayor, their school committee, and their um, city council together at functions and conversing with each other outside the political realm, I think that's what they want to see. And so that would be one of my strengths. Communication is one of my strengths. So I would want to see that and bring them all together. Same thing with the boards and commissions.
In terms of the key issues outside obviously resolving the police contract and kind of healing the city from that, so to speak, what are the key issues that you want to address as mayor? The big ticket things that I won't say the first 100 days, but that are really at the heart of your platform.
So my first day, of course, going in, if I'm lucky enough to be elected in November, we'll have a transition team going in just to see, make it a smooth transition. Getting in, definitely, possibly meeting with all the new counselors, talking to them about, what my first, as you say, first couple of months in office. Um, Meeting with all the people in City Hall in every department just to let them know what my management style will be, and keep everybody um, on open communication. Now, and one of the first things is, if we don't have a human resource director already hired by the time I get in, because we do have I believe, a posting going out. Maggie, which is the CAFO, has presented it to the City Council. So hopefully there will be a new human resource director in there. The day one on that person's agenda, if I'm lucky to become the mayor, will be to create a city employee handbook, which we were promised by the former administration in 2012 that we would have one. I have not seen it. I don't believe any new employees have seen it. I don't believe any old employees have seen it. Whether they do or not, it's probably the best kept secret in City Hall. These are very important documents, because these are how you run a business, and they need to know what's expected of them and what they can expect from us in return. Um, They should all be signing it, and it just talks about their rights and the rights of the city. So that would be number one, is getting everybody on the same page to know what policies and procedures are going to be expected of them. Number two is looking at the DPW and the police department. We have two departments right now. One, I'm hearing from a lot of the people that they feel that it's top heavy, more so specifically the five captains. I would, again, as city councilors, we don't have um, the exact information. We have budget information on those five captains. I want to take an in-depth look at that and to see what can be done there. And then with the DPW department, the one thing, and they're great workers, but we don't have enough laborers. And I can see that as I'm driving around the city. Residents are calling me on that, but the work they do, even understaffed as they are, it's excellent. Because I'll give you two examples. Just this weekend, we had the windstorm. I had a gentleman call me over in the Central District, and there was a big tree branch on there. Now, it was late in Friday afternoon. I called them. I said to the gentleman, they're probably working because of the non-electricity and everything else. They went over there within an hour's time, and they removed it for him. And I had another person today call me about a storm drain in front of his house, that there's a ton of sand, a ton of leaves. I sent an email, and I got an immediate response that somebody would be over there today. So I'll be honest with you, the DPW does a great job at responding, but I want more. I want more out there, where there's overgrown bushes, where the sidewalk side almost pushes you out into the street. We have to be proactive. We have to add more sidewalks. I mean, if I've been going through some neighborhoods. The other day I went with one of the constituents down by the Mystic Street housing, and she just said, Jennifer, I can't even walk to the senior center from here. So we actually she got in my truck, and we took a drive around, and she showed me. So these are things I want to be visible in the community. I want to see with my own eyes what everything is, and then again work accordingly. But one of the big things is to beautify the city so that businesses want to come here, and it will attract them to our community versus having it look like it needs a complete overhaul.
In terms of business, um, a lot of folks feel right now that we've been top heavy in terms of adding residential units in the city, but have not developed a commercial base enough, and that Methuen right now is not very attractive to business, which blows my mind, right? Because we're like right on, like, location wise, you're in real estate, it's location, location, location. Um, how what will you do in terms of identifying ways to grow our commercial base and the way that we attract business here in Methuen?
So I did say this in one of the debates. We need to redo our master plan. It was expired in 2018, but we can look in there and see what things didn't actually get done and incorporate them in the new master plan. But again, I just met with the community development director and a resident regarding a property that they have for years. It's a landmark. I don't want to say what it is, and they're interested in maybe seeing if other houses on near their property would be interested in getting together and selling it, and making it commercial, so that we can extend on the commercial corridor. And the street itself is a commercial street. However, their house is not deemed commercial. So I had a meeting with them and Mr. Buckley. I put them together. I attended it, and then I left it up to the two of them to figure out what the next step is. But it's very similar to the Route 28 down here when you get off at 213 and you're heading north on 28. In that master plan, it called for that whole street from the doctor's office to the Route 28 border to become commercial. Why? Look at the other side of the street. You have Fuddruckers and Texas Roadhouse and all the gas stations. Why not make that uniform? It is a commercial road. So there was some neighbors that lived behind there, and at the time there was some pushback, and but it's something to look into now, because again, you're hearing it now as more residential house projects are being built in Methuen. where is our commercial base and how is our commercial base going to grow? So again, in talking to looking at certain areas, whether they're making them business highway, industrial, we just not rezoned, but we changed the use of the building right next door to JG so that New Balance can come in there. Being business friendly and helping businesses who want to come in rather than have them jump through loopholes, I think that is something which will attract people. And when they start seeing these big businesses come in, like a New Balance, that's going to attract smaller businesses in because they'll have something to feed, like a feeder system. So looking into that and just making sure our city is attractive. The crime is down. The properties around the streets and the public areas are maintained properly. Those are going to attract businesses into our community.
In terms of the loop, and I mean, there's a lot of concern right now when you see empty storefronts, and we've had some businesses move out of there. Um, Combine that with what's happening in Salem, with Tuscan Village, and how that's building up. A lot of concern that the loop, that we haven't addressed that proactively, and that it could become another Methuen Mall situation in terms of us kind of just falling behind, and that area becoming obsolete, or a ghost town again. How do we protect against that? How do we attract more entertainment options, more restaurants? How do we protect and keep the loop flourishing?
So the community development department should start now. I mean, we should absolutely start with a plan. They do have good anchor stores there, and they do have the Olive Garden, which people love to go to. They have TGIF, they have Margaritas, they have Home Depot up a little way that is attracting people. We have some anchor stores there. I would say there is some concerns about the empty stores, but honestly, I think there's still always foot traffic. I go in there on the weekend, and there is always traffic. Marshalls is a great store that where people will go in there. Then they have Chuck E. Cheese and the cinema. I mean, and then of course not your average Joe. So yes, is there concern about the other stores going in? But as long as we keep, if we keep those anchor stores that I just mentioned, I think you'll see other businesses wanting to come. A lot of people have talked about Trader Joe's. Something different, something that's not around. They should look into a Trader Joe's. Even a lot of people have been asking me about a bowling alley. If there's a store that's big enough, you don't have to have this gigantic bowling alley, but enough to draw families. They come, they maybe bowl a little bit, go to the restaurants. That's what it's all about. It's more so having stuff for us to do in Methuen. We'd love to attract everybody, but keeping the Methuen residents visiting these stores or recreational areas. So we have launch across the way. I know I've gone there for parties for my grandkids. It's packed. And I think after that, they could possibly run right across to one of the stores. So I think that's something we should keep our eye on the ball, form a plan, and just see, keep always finding out what stores we can bring in that would be not the same as 5 minutes down the road, something different. And I think but I don't think the loop will turn into the Methuen Mall. I really don't.
I think people look at areas such as like Linfield, and what they've been able to do there in terms of the mix of entertainment and anchor stores and restaurants, and um, you know I didn't mean to say that the loop's a ghost town by any means right
No,
now. I think
right.
there's just a long, like, protecting our investment and what we have there long term.
I think the people who own the loop, they're not going to want to see anything, happen to the loop. And I would hope that again, I would think I'm not in the mayor's office, but that they would be very involved with the people who own the loop and getting together and just say, what do you think should be coming here? And throw a couple of suggestions out. Even now, if I was the mayor, because I've made no qualms that I don't think our website is the best user friendly, but there should absolutely be something where the voters can go, or the residents, I should say, on the website, and maybe a question: what do you think we should have at the loop? figure out what stores are out, and then just say these are the three right now. Just give a three. That way, get an idea of what the resident, and maybe send that over to the Wilder Group. I believe they're still the owners of the loop, and just get public input. And see what the residents would be interested in, because those are your buyers.
In terms of the um, the the dynamics of the position, you faced some questions about education. I just wanted to give you the chance to address your work experience, your education experience, and how that makes you a viable candidate for mayor.
Okay, thank you for that question too.
So I have a new, so the most modern that you can get, because it was done in 2019, a bachelor's degree in business administration from UMass Lowell. I'm a licensed realtor for 17 years in both the state of Mass and New Hampshire. My work ethic is second to none. I'm a worker. I love working, and no matter what project that I undertake, I give it 100%. And I have experience on the city council for 10 years of knowing how government works, dealing with, like I said, superintendents, mayors, senators, representatives, all for the betterment of our community. I think that when asked that question, and again, going back to the Perry campaign, again, when they tried to assault me on, what's your education? They could have gone to my website. It was there. And again, it was you know, um, a social media tactic that they used. And as far as I'm concerned, 55 years old, been in business. My husband and I started his successful plumbing company out of the room of our home, our first home, and he's probably one of the biggest plumbing companies in the Merrimack Valley, hard worker. And so we have business ethics, and I think knowing how to treat people, employees, that's number one. That you treat employees with respect, and you'll get them to work for you, and then, of course, the business portion of it, you surround yourself with the best team you can. We have a assessor, we have a treasurer, we have, a CAFO now, who I happen to have a good relationship with. You have a community development department. So as long as you surround yourself with top professionals and expect nothing less of them, then I think that the city of Methuen will be good. And that's one thing I plan on surrounding myself and employing uh, people that want to work for the city and that they want to give their all to the city, as I expect nothing less.